Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Hope everyone is doing well. Today I have 4 Reddit stories for you guys. All credit goes to the original posters, and I will link the stories in my description. Lady in the cemetery that I think could have been a reaper or some sort of cemetery guardian spirit. Hello everyone, my name is Jason. I'm 29 years old. I grew up in Massachusetts. As a child, my parents didn't really get along very well. There was a cemetery not too far from my house, and I usually went there when my parents were fighting. One day my parents were fighting as usual, and I went to the cemetery and sat down on the bench in the cemetery like I always did. I had been sitting there for maybe about 5 minutes or so when a woman appeared out of nowhere and sat down on the bench beside me. She was tall, about 5'10", and she had very pale white skin. She had long black hair and blue eyes. She was extremely well dressed. She looked like a businesswoman. She was wearing a black pantsuit with a white shirt underneath. The suit jacket, black pants, and black dress shoes. She sat down beside me on the bench and asked me what was wrong. I explained my situation, and she told me it was going to be okay, and we talked about everything that was going on in my life. We talked for at least an hour. After that, my mother called me and told me to come home. I told the woman, and she told me to go and that everything was going to be okay. She told me that she was watching and that I would see her again someday. I said thank you and stood up, and when I turned back around, she was just gone. I don't know exactly what she was, but she made me feel better. Let me know what you guys think. I'm terrified of teddy bears. I know this sounds incredibly stupid. Who in their right mind would be scared of teddy bears, right? Well, that person is me, and I can assure you, I'm in my right mind. Have you ever heard of the game hide and seek alone? If not, now you have. If you have heard of it, I'm sorry if I'm bringing up any bad memories. I'm also remembering them, so I assume you had a similar experience. Again, to those that never heard of it, please never try to play this game. I beg of you, and if I can't stop you, keep the rules in mind. These events date from 10 years ago. I tried so as to forget them, but I think I'll forever be unable to. At the time, I was an impressionable kid and learned of the existence of the game. Of course, being a huge fan of creepypastas and urban legends, also being very skeptical, I decided to give it a try. I waited until my parents were out for the night. I looked for an appropriate doll, although I didn't have what they wanted, only an old teddy bear that I got when I was 2, so I used it. I completed every step of the manual very carefully. I first found a hiding spot, my closet. That was a no-go. It was very easy to see through, so my parents' bedroom. I could hide in their closet, which was much bigger. Then I proceeded to stay up until late in the night. They told me they would be out that night, so it was fine. I closed every light, every door, every window. Everything was also tightly locked, as tight as a kid my age could manage. I prepared the teddy bear and the basin required. I said the ritual like it was saying. My teddy bear looked deformed compared to his original look. I sewed him back up with a red thread. He looked weird. Evil, even. I didn't know how to explain the dread I had at that moment. I dropped the bear in the water. I said my part after choosing the name Carter. I don't remember why, I just did. Then went to seek the teddy. I stabbed him with the box cutter I had. The dread got worse. I was sweating all over. I don't know what was happening, it just felt wrong. I hurried to my hiding place while being as silent as possible. I hid in the closet and started hearing small laughter. I was scared. The doll. It was actually real. The teddy bear was actually possessed. I heard it walking around, running. It was looking for me. I held salt water close. My eyes were closing. I could feel I was getting tired. I was getting heavy, but the fear gradually woke me up. I heard it get closer. Once, twice, thrice, 4 times, 5 times, 17 times, but it never found me. I don't know how much time passed, but I know it was too long. After I gathered my courage, I got up and finally ended the game. It honestly seemed like I was exercising the teddy bear, even it probably was. I heard the screams of pain coming from the thing, so I thought it was the end. I picked up my teddy and put him in his original place, on a shelf, looking high above at me. It may have looked odd and weirder than before, but I didn't feel the dread I felt before. I was stupid. I fell asleep. I know I shouldn't have. I should have burned the damn thing. In my sleep, I never noticed the weird teddy. I should have heard the noise. I shouldn't have fallen asleep. I don't know where it was. I don't know what it was doing. All I remember is the moment I woke up, I screamed. Even now, that moment makes me shudder. My eyes opened. There was a box cutter in front of my eyes. My scream filled the room as I, by instinct, smacked whatever was in front of me. I heard a splat against the wall, and as I looked down, I saw that thing. Was it a teddy bear at that point? I don't think so. All I could feel from it was anger and disgust. I was terrified. I felt stiff. My eyes couldn't move away from it. I don't remember how I ever found the strength to get up. I remember being stuck in the moment for hours, which could have been a mere minute. The next moment I picked it up, it started squirming. I was shaking. I could have collapsed, but I didn't. I made my way to the microwave and threw it in. I don't know why I thought the microwave was a way to go at the time, but I'll never forget what happened after. I turned it on, pressed 3 and multiple zeros, and finally the start button. I saw the teddy writhe in pain as it slowly, very slowly heated up. At some point it caught fire. I saw it melt slowly. My eyes were stuck on it. I didn't move. I couldn't move. I was mesmerized by the disgusting vision. Faux fur, button eyes, screams of pain. Curse as the thing slowly melted to death. The microwave caught fire after that, but I couldn't move anymore. I don't remember what happened next. All I know is that a few days after, we were moving into an apartment in the city where my parents worked. This story may seem out of nowhere, but my therapist said it would be good to share such. I've been seeing him for months now, but I never thought of this seriously. That was until I crossed the local toy store. I know it was one singular teddy bear, but they all reminded me of that night. I needed a way out. I'm sorry. I just needed a way out from those memories I so dread. I never liked Disneyland. I have never liked Disneyland, and I know what you're thinking. No, it's not the rides. No, it's not the shows. And no, it's not the food. It's the mascots. Something about a silent somebody in a creepy, essentially expressionless costume, just staring at you. It creeps me out beyond reason. And it isn't funny how my family is a big Disney family. We go there at least every month, and you better believe every birthday theme was Disney. When I was younger, I'd even cry every time we would go to the happiest place in the world. At least now as an adult, I don't have to go as much. But what do you know? It's my sister's birthday, so here we are at Disneyland. I go through most of the day just fine, but at one point, something on the loudspeakers triggered a large crowd, and I got separated from my family. I walk in the direction I saw them last, and eventually I end up at a closed section of the park. I turn around, and there is someone in a goofy costume just standing there. Can I help you? No response. Are you on break, or am I not where I'm supposed to be? Or he takes a step towards me. Hey, stay back. Don't come closer. The nervousness in my voice was as clear as day. For a while, no one says anything. He's just standing there. Well, I'm going to go now, so... He immediately starts sprinting towards me, and in one of his hands I see a knife. I immediately scream and duck under the stay-out tape and just run. I don't know where I'm going, but I book it as fast as I can. As I run further into the park, I begin to see splatters of blood everywhere. At this point, the adrenaline has worn off, and I'm getting really tired. My legs are on fire, and my lungs are burning. I look behind me and see him still as fast as ever. I slowly start giving up, hoping he just kills me quick. When I hear a thud, I turn and see him face first on the ground. I get a burst of energy as I sprint away, and I run for 20 seconds before I nearly collapse. I scurry inside an abandoned shop and hide underneath the counter. I hear the sound of padded feet run by me. Then I hear footsteps in the stall next to me. Then those padded feet come up to my stall. I see his shadow appear and look over. I hear his heavy breathing as he looks in my stall for a while. Eventually he walks away. I look over the counter and see his back coated with blood. After what felt like an eternity, I run out of the abandoned part of the park, past all the rides, straight to the exit and drove home. Safe to say, I don't like Disneyland, and I don't like mascots. Something follows me around my basement and it's finally gone upstairs. Something follows me around my basement and it's finally gone upstairs. I've always told my friends that my house is haunted. It used to be a joke. Used to be. My basement has always had an odd feeling to it. It makes weird noises, the temperature fluctuates constantly, and there are the echoes. Sometimes when I walk around, I hear something walking right behind me. I assumed it was echoes at first, but it never happened on a constant basis. Regardless of the numerous perfectly rational explanations for what it could be causing the footsteps, it creeped me out so much I began a ritual of sprinting up the stairs, throwing open the door and shutting it behind me as fast as I could whenever I heard them. Thankfully, they never followed me up. Until last week. My neighborhood was experiencing a power outage at night due to high winds, and my phone was about to run out of charge. I remembered a battery charger I'd stored in the basement after a hiking trip. Now, I wasn't thrilled about having to run downstairs in the dark, but I was bored and didn't want my phone to die. At first, everything was fine. I was rummaging around looking for my charger, getting frustrated with myself for not remembering exactly where I put it. The wind was raging outside, so I didn't hear them at first. The footsteps were walking on their own, and they were coming towards me. As they got louder, I was alerted to the presence and forced myself to turn around. Nothing but darkness. I bolted upstairs with the footsteps close on my trail, but slightly out of sync with my own. It sounded like a heartbeat. Thump, 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 thump. I made it to the top, opened the door, and slammed it shut behind me. I heard something bang into the wood, followed by footsteps getting fainter. It had gone back down. I breathed a sigh of relief. Fuck that shit. I moved a chair under the doorknob just in case. A couple of days ago, I decided to invite some friends of mine over to stay the night. We've been watching old paranormal shows and wanting to conduct our own investigation. I offered up my basement. I hadn't been back since the power outage. We bought a temperature reader, spirit box, and headlamps, as well as brought our own cameras and flashlights. Looking back, it was certainly overkill and a little ridiculous, but the humor of it eased my fears of returning to the basement. I wanted my house back. 2 of my friends stayed upstairs and the other 3 went down into the basement with me. We were cracking jokes in the lead up, but it was clear that the mood was tense. I moved the chair out from under the doorknob, and we carefully opened the door and peered inside. Everything looked normal. I let out a sigh. At least the thing hadn't trashed my stuff. Slowly, we all made our way down the stairs. We left the lights off and used flashlights to see in front of us. After about half an hour of fiddling with the temperature reader and the spirit box and getting no significant results, we were about to call it a night. That was until we realized our mistake. We had left the basement door open. We hadn't heard from the 2 friends we'd left behind since we entered the basement, but we were so caught up in our investigation we hadn't even noticed. The 4 of us practically threw ourselves up the stairs, calling their names the entire way up. They never responded. We made our way up, only to find an empty room. Our friends had disappeared entirely. No screams, no loud noises, nothing. The police never found them. Every few days another person goes missing. In the lead up to their disappearance, some of the victims reported hearing footsteps behind them. Every time they appeared, they get louder. Please lock your doors, and if you ever hear something walking right behind you, run. I'm sorry. Thank you for listening. If you like this type of content, please consider subscribing and liking my channel, and I will see you on the next one.